Hello and welcome to Hellion, a space sci-fi shooter slash survival game made by Zero Gravity Games, so the developers of this game, which had launched on the 24th of February this year, 2017, and goes for £20 or 25 US dollars or 23 euros. Luckily, I got in touch with the company, Zero Gravity Games, and they were lovely enough to send me two copies of the game, one for me and one for a friend. If I go onto the play menu, we'll wait for it to load. It's a full multiplayer game. There's no single player as of yet, but there's quite a few servers. I'm just going to delete my old save. I was just kind of getting to make sure that the options worked and tested everything. So there's all sorts of servers from wherever you are. So I've got London, New York, San Jose, St. Louis. Obviously, wherever you are in the world, there's a server or a few servers for you. I'm going to be playing on London 3 as a male character. Doesn't really matter. Anyways, choosing a fresh start. So you wake up after a century in cryo, just one of the many colonists on their journey to Hellion. As your consciousness returns and you finally open your eyes, you find yourself in a small module, barely even a lifeboat. So this game is set in the 23rd century after Earth decides that humans on Earth decide that they want to expand out into the universe. And here we are. We are in our cryopod. Oops. So I just want to mention as well, this is an early access game, so bugs are most likely still going to be here and will need to be ironed out at some point. But they're still good enough. It's still a good enough game to be worthy of playing if you find that you're interested in it. So one of the nice things I love about this game is the buttons that do everything. Yeah, as I was saying, I like how the buttons... you can press the buttons and they open and close things like that. You got a locker, nothing in it at the moment. All sorts over here. Pick up a mug as well. Have a mug. So you press F to pick things up, then G to throw it or drop it. So I've got a stim pack here. So a cryo container we can leave for now. Right, so we walk on through here. So I think we're going to put this in here. There you go. So this is like a little medicine cabinet. And here's our suit. So we're going to put our suit on, put the helmet on, and put the jetpack. But we're going to press H. That pops the front of your helmet off, so you can have a normal kind of screen. So no kind of UI cluttering everything up, which is nice. So then this part of the ship, or station should I say, doesn't actually have gravity yet. You gotta slow down. If you hold shift, you kind of grab onto something. And if I do that, now we have gravity again. This is the kind of the hub of the ship, I think I'm going to call it. So this is where your friends spawn in. So you got two spare cryo chambers here. So I'm going to unlock them. So when my friend joins later on, we can do that. If you press F1 on the keyboard, you get everything about things. So kind of starting up, how to do everything, and airlocks and ships and stuff. We'll be looking at that later on. So we want to get the power supply up and running. So we want the capacitor on, and we want the solar panels on. So they're powering up. We'll also want the life support system on. So on the air generator and the air filter on. Just to, so we don't have to use other oxygen supplies really, so we can get some more oxygen. And fill our jetpack up, I believe. So they're on standby as we've got enough oxygen in the ship already. There's no need to pump any more in. What was I looking for? Yeah, power. So power's now online. So with everything that you can access, the solar panels, for example, servo motors, you can change. Sorry, they need replacing after a while, and if you don't, there it affects the deploy time of the solar panel. And you can see them here in the air filters. There's one there, and there's one there, and then we've got a resource injector here. Oh, stuck on a pod, and we've got a air processor here, which is neat. So I think if you were to take a part out, so for example that, it now goes into the parts bit. You then grab that, drag that across into there, and then you can place that back. So the inventory system is kind of, these are your tool slots, these are your 1 and 2, so if you have a gun and a pistol, or a gun and a grenade, or so forth. Your ammo containers, your health kits, and supply containers, your larger containers, and other parts, miscellaneous parts. So you have little access tunnels, which is cool. So for example, I think I have just fallen through the floor. Whoops. So I'll have to go back in through. Okay. Well, we wanted to come on the outside of the ship anyway. It's not quite the conventional manner that you usually do, but hey ho, we're out here anyway. I was going to show you the little service ducts that you can use, but apparently I got glitched to the floor. Ah well. So there we go, I clip myself on, I can just grab onto something to slow me down to a halt. So this is an airlock segment. This allows us to exit and enter the ship safely and with no oxygen loss. So if we get on this, we all need to change the port to this one because this is what we're going for. And we'll just move it. Just want to line it up. This can be quite fiddly, but it's nice that you have a fine control. And imagine you can dock your spaceship to it as well. We'll get to the spaceship in a minute. So now we're lined up. We can push power forward. Just gonna kind of move it with the mouse a little just to kind of move it around. So you can see at the bottom there's the distance, that's the distance to our target, and the DIR stands for direction, so it's the movement in direction. So I'm going minus 0.4 because the kind of the facing end of the ship is the other way, so the airlock docking port, because we are currently viewing from the standard docking port. So a standard docking port is kind of one door which goes to the straight outside in space. An airlock is obviously an airlock, so it has two doors and you can depressurize, so we'll want that on the outside. So we'll want to just slow her down a little when coming into docking. Left, there we go, and the kind of final docking part will take control for us. Close the docking panel, and we'll go from this side. There's no point going through the little access hatch. Oops, come on. There we go. So then we interact with this, depressurize it, so that it's at a zero pressure. So when we open the door, no oxygen escapes, and also no, we don't get blown out into space, because that's not good. You can open the door and just have all the oxygen fire out, but there's no real need. You may as well just open it, really. So there's now only 0.1 bar of pressure in there. Now there's no pressure, so if we were to open this now, we don't have any issues. We can float on in and open this, repressurize, and wait for the pressure. So you can see oxygen is coming back in along with the pressure. So if we go over to the thing, you can see that we're at 0.7. You need to be at full 1 bar of pressure before kind of ideal. There we go, so now it's matched with the rest of the ship. Now you can press to open, and gravity. Nice! Also you can turn the helmet off, as we don't need to now. And we'll also, oh no, wrong one, also toggle the lock, so now it's locked. And we'll also, just for the sake of it, depressurize it, so we have all the air stored in the side that we're going to be using it on. So if we're outside and we need to get in a hurry, it's all depressurized, so we can just open the door from the outside. Again, more of these awesome button kind of panels. There's so many little hidden things around, which is great. I may turn the lens flare bloom down or off. If it hasn't crashed, has it crashed? Nope. Okay, we're good. Bloom, we'll turn that off. There we go, so the lights aren't as invasive now. So we've got resource canisters. What we got in here? Nothing in here. Sorry. We got a Alt-Corp refined resources canister. Nice. So we need to take this oxygen and nitrogen, put that into your hands, then it's in that. So then you open it, and we've refilled some of the jetpack. So now it's only got nitrogen in it. Has any of these got anything else in them? No. So this can go back into there now. I really like the inventory system. I like how it works. So that can go back there. So this is the center bit is your hands, and everything else. You got tools, and like I said, explained earlier. So you got automatic door control to manual override the doors. Docking control. So if this area was compromised, so if there was a hole in it, or if someone was in here, for example, if you're being breached and you don't have any weapons, you can get into here, get in the other side. I think this side would be best to do so. Oh no, it's this part, because this is part of the main module. You can force the door shut, and then you could undock it. So we'll close the cover, because it's got nice, you know, in the fighter jets when you have the push to fire, but it's covered with a little thing. It's got one of these, so you open it, and then there's the lever underneath, or if you look towards the actual catch, it does that, so you don't have to redock it, which is nice. And I'd imagine that shuts the door. Oh, no, you can there you go. So yeah, it's now locked shut, both sides of the door, or you could open it again, because both pressures are on the same. Both on of sides of the corridor are at the same pressure. There won't be any kind of kerfuffle. But for example, here, if we were to do that, I don't think we actually can in here. We would have a lot of issues. Which make sure the lock's on. That's off now. Now it's on. Cool. So no one can get in our airlock, and we'll just shut this door. Cool. And the door shuts. Really like the doors, they look really cool. So what I was going to show you earlier, if it still works, is the access hatch down here. So I'll need to put my helmet on here. But this is if, for example, if someone's on your ship and you want to make an escape to your... Sorry, if someone's on your station and you want to make an escape to your ship, you can do. If you open that, at least to the outside. But I'm not going to, because then all sorts of depressurization incidents will happen. And that's not fun. And now you know where we are again, which is cool. So again, this is the whole section. I'm going to call this is the habitat module. So you can de-dock that. And then this module I'm going to call the hub. So the hub is where all the kind of core systems are and where everything is. So yeah, I think that's what we'll call it for today. So you got all sorts of pressure things. I'm going to move this and this. I'm going to move these. So this is the gun model. Down the ammo for it. Can't reload it because it's none. But I'm going to put this in our storage thing, just in case I need it. And we'll also move this into here to store in there. Where else can we store these? There's got to be a cupboard somewhere that we can store them in. In here maybe? So you can freely look around with Alt, so you can kind of, if you want to be running in one direction but looking in the other, you can do that. A lot of the games are using that now, which is quite nice. Can we store them in here maybe? Don't know where to store them really. No, they're in there. Okay, so they can get back in there. Yeah, so, turn the helm off as well. Take that off. So yeah, I think that's what we'll do today. It was just kind of an introduction episode. I just want to also thank the devs for sending me 2 codes for free. That was really nice of them. I just wanted to kind of recommend this game because I saw it and I thought this is something I really like. So if you kind of like what you've seen so far, fairly in-depth space game, then I'd imagine that you'd be interested in picking it up. So I'll just repeat again that it's £20 or $25 or 23 euros. I think it's really worth that. And the main reason I kind of contacted the devs saying I want to do this on YouTube because it's got a lot of mixed reviews on Steam, and I wanted to show people that it's not that bad. There is glitches, but there is in any early access game, and it's a really quite good game. And I love the whole fact it's multiplayer as well. But anyway, I shall see you next episode where hopefully we'll have a partner, a co-op partner, or I might do one more solo episode, and then we'll see where we are there. The first episode of co-op is mostly going to be me teaching again, so anyway, I look forward to seeing you then.